Are you using a content strategy or a content plan? There is a difference. They are two very different things, even though we tend to use them interchangeably in this online business space. I'm Amanda Warfield. I am a content marketing strategist and copywriter, and my whole focus and my goal is to help other entrepreneurs simplify their marketing so that they can move the needle in their business without feeling like they're spending all of their time marketing. So, today we are going to be talking about content strategy versus content plan. Which do you need? Are they the same? Are they not? Spoiler, they're not the same. And if you have any questions, if you're here live, I'm happy to answer them as we go. And if you are watching the replay, leave your questions and I'll come back and answer them. Okay, so a content strategy and a content plan, they are two very different things. We tend to use the words interchangeably when we're talking about creating our content and our strategy, for lack of a better other way to say that. But most of the time, when we say we're creating a content strategy, we're just creating a content plan in actuality. So, what it is, the difference is, let's use this analogy to talk about it. So, you can think of a content strategy plan as a building, and the strategy itself is the inner structure of the building, right? It's the part that holds it together, that really gives the building its shape, that keeps it. I have a little sidekick down here if you can't see her moving around. It gives the building its strength, its shape, its structure. It keeps it safe and standing upright. The content plan would be the outer part, the interior and the decorations and the outer facade of the building. All of that would be the plan itself. And so your content strategy should uphold and give your plan its structure. But a lot of times when we sit down to create content, we go, okay, I'm going to create my strategy and I'm going to pull out a calendar and I'm going to say, okay, here's my, oh, sorry, Padme. Here's my content planner. I'm going to flip over to the calendar itself, and I'm going to write out what I'm posting and when and where. And there's my strategy, right? Now, that's your plan. You need to do, if I can go backwards easily, the prep work that needs to go into the strategy side of things before you can get into the plan itself. This is the Chasing Simple Content Planner. If you want to grab one yourself, you can find it at amandawarfield.com/shop. I'll also link it in the description box. But the strategy itself helps determine what your plan is going to be, but it's not what you're putting down on that calendar. And a lot of times we think that that's what it is. We think, okay, I'm going to go and okay, I'm going to post on Instagram this many times per week and on these days, and this is what I'm going to talk about on this day, and this is what I'm going to talk about on that day. And we think that that's what our strategy is. And we think that that's creating the strategy. And in actuality, that's just the plan. The strategy is determining where you're going to take your content and take your audience with your content based on data and goals. The plan is how you're going to do that. So the strategy is the blueprint, the plan is the guide, I guess you can say. The blueprint of strategy is how you can do that and how you're going to move people in, and the plan is the guide. So, for example, because that's a lot of words, right? But what does that really mean? So, the strategy itself, you're going to look at your KPIs. You're going to look at what your revenue numbers look like. You're going to look at what specific offers you're trying to move the needle on and you're trying to get more sales on. You're going to look at your promotions. You're going to look at your personal calendar. You're going to look at your goals. And then you're going to determine, okay, if I'm trying to, let's say I've done all my revenue mapping, done all my sales mapping, which if you want to see a video on those, let me know in the comments. That's something that I talk about depth in my course, A Year in Preview, where you map out your entire marketing strategy for the year. But if you want me to go over revenue mapping and sales mapping in a YouTube live, let me know in the comments and we'll see about adding that to the calendar. But when you map out your revenue and what you're trying to make for the year, Then you have to determine, okay, if I'm trying to make $50,000 this year and I have 2 offers, okay, how much am I gonna make for each offer? And then in order to make that for each offer, how many sales of each offer do I need? That's the small, quick 30-second of what revenue and sales mapping is. How many of each of those offers do I need to sell though? Once you know how many you need to sell, you know throughout the year which ones you need to focus on. It may be that one of them you don't need to put a ton of effort into to sell the number you need to sell to hit that revenue goal. And the other one needs a lot more focus. So you focus on that one. Or maybe they both need focus. And so you determine throughout the year different ways to promote them throughout the year and lead to those sales numbers that you're needing. Honestly, the less offers you have, the easier that is. The more you have, the harder that gets. But once you know those numbers, then you can say, okay, I know that I need to sell 10 of this course that I have. And I need to then lead people into the course. So I know that, okay, my strategy is to lead people into the course. Because I know I'm leading people into the course, I need to know my messaging, right? I need to know the different parts of how to lead people into becoming problem aware, offer aware, solution aware, right? Well, problem aware, solution aware, offer aware. Leading them through that with my content. Okay, so I know my strategy. Now, how am I going to do that based on when I'm posting and where? And that's where the plan comes in. But you need to know those numbers and you need to know what your goals are and where you're trying to lead people in order to create a plan that actually does more than just puts content out. Because when we create our marketing, we want it to be strategic so that we can make sure that we are not wasting our time and spinning our wheels with our marketing, because it's really, really, really easy to put content out and just, throw content out there over and over and over again and not see any results from it. But if you are doing that, it's probably because you only have a content plan. Whereas if you want to see your marketing work for you, remember in another video, I talked about the fact that our marketing isn't our sales, but our marketing should bring us to the sales precipice on the top of a mountain. If you are hoping to do that with your marketing, you've got to have that strategy first. So if you're someone that only has a content plan in place, I highly recommend checking out my A Year in Preview course, or just looking at your numbers and determining what your goals are and what you're going to do to hit the numbers that you need for this year so that you can create that strategy. If you don't even have a plan, well, I'd recommend getting the Chase a Simple Content Planner, but create that strategy first, even if you don't have a plan. Now, if you're someone that's like, I have a plan, I never finish it, I'm not consistent, I'll link another video all about how to stay consistent, 3 different tips that you can use to get consistent with your content creation so that you can get consistent, because that's gonna need to be in effect before you start working on your strategy. Get consistent first. Once you're consistent, then you can work on your strategy and your plan. So I'll link that video below, but I also link another video all about simplifying your marketing where I talk about the 2 different parts of a marketing strategy, because what we're talking about here is content strategy versus content plan, but your content strategy is only half of your overall marketing strategy. So I will link both of those videos down below. 3 simple steps for simplifying your content creation for those of you that are not yet consistent with your content, and then also simplifying your marketing so that you can learn about those 2 types of, or 2 parts of every marketing strategy, so that you can have your marketing or your content strategy in place, but then also your growth strategy, which is what I talk about in that video. I'll be right back here tomorrow, 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern time for another quick video like this one. See you next time.